Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this 15-minute bite-sized FolkLaw webinar. Really pleased you can all join us today. Thanks for coming along. We're going to get straight into it. This is a short, jam-packed session. So I want to start by taking you back around 18 months ago, when ChatGPT burst onto the scene. Generative AI really took off. Since then, I think for many of us working in marketing, for those of us who are watching AI really closely, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. If you're anything like me, it's gone from, questioned, is my career going to change? Is AI going to take my job? And then I thought, it's another sort of tech trend, another gimmick. And then you think, it's an amazing tool to supplement our roles. And if you're anything like me, you might have gone through that cycle sort of several times. I think now we're at a good place where we see AI as a great tool, whether we're sort of in our roles as content creators, campaign managers, strategic advisors. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris. I'm Associate Director at Folk, the creative content agency. I've been with the agency for 6 years, and I head up AI. So before Folk, I was a journalist. I was a business and tech journalist latterly for sort of nearly 15 years. And towards the end of that, I spent quite a lot of time interviewing tech entrepreneurs, tech company leaders, and they were making sort of big claims about how they were using AI. So I was trying to get to grips with that and having conversations about that. So, and I think it's fair to say there was a lot of hype around AI even back then, so sort of long before ChatGPT. Thank you to those of you who are just joining. We're just sort of setting the scene. So today, we're talking about the real ways that marketers are using AI. And this, as I said, is one of our bite-sized webinars from Folk, our FolkLaw webinars. With Gen AI, we've all got the challenge and the opportunity. It's here to stay. It's developing quickly. There are new tools every day, new developments every day. So we need to be a step ahead. So in this session, we're going to help you to see through the fog, find out specific ways that marketers are using AI. And what we've seen, what we see with other marketers, other agencies is, almost everyone's using AI. I think there was a recent survey that 98% of marketers are using AI, but we still see lots of individual employees and marketers tinkering with the tools, not really using it to its best effect or sort of consistently as they could be. So with today in our short session, we're going to help you use AI more consistently, get more out of it. Use some specific tools and avoid falling into some of those traps and overcome some of the sort of common challenges. We know that AI can be overwhelming. It can be easy to focus on those negatives, such as thinking what it means for your job as a marketer. You may not know where to start, or in all likelihood you have started, but you sort of don't know how to get the most out of it. And this session is going to sort of help equip you to get going or use AI more efficiently, better, without feeling overwhelmed. So we're going to look at three main real use cases for AI marketing today, and going to put contact details at the end for questions, just because it's a short session, and you can also pop questions in the chat, and we'll make sure we respond to those. So we're going to start with content creation and copy creation in particular. So we at Folk don't use AI to create content. And the main reason for this is we're concerned about, we want to meet Google EAT guidelines, so EEAT guidelines on the quality of content to ensure it ranks. So we see AI as more of an assistant. But we know other marketers are using AI to create content from scratch, but with a large human element. So 51% of marketers in a recent survey said a significant amount of editing and human input is needed for content to be ready to publish, content that's been created using AI. So there's a human AI sort of team going on. And your roles, if you are creating AI and working alongside AI and that sort of human AI team, so several things you can do in your role. So, accurate data. You'll find AI isn't able yet to source a sort of accurate enough data, so that can be your role. Fact checking, adding examples to content. Often AI created examples are too vague, or they may be old and won't be credible. You can add personality, particularly if it's something like thought leadership. So anecdotes or cultural references, perhaps. And you can ensure the brand voice and the audience relevance are sort of implicit in your content. AI can help with that too, but it's your role as the brand guardian ultimately. And if you are creating content using AI, the best tools we've found, Claude is the best tool by a long way. It's the most fluent AI copy tool we've found, and you don't have to pay for the version you can use for sort of simple content creation. Another tool that's very popular is Compose AI. So there's a HubSpot report, and it's said that 18% of marketers are using Compose AI. So it sort of follows you around wherever you are, email, Slack, GDocs, and prompts your writing, prompts you for what to write next. I find it a bit irritating, but give it a whirl because it's so popular. At Folk, in terms of creating content and copy using AI, we prefer to use it as a sense check. So you write your content. You have a statement that you want to check. Perhaps it's a strong statement, and you plug it into AI and perhaps into ChatGPT, and use it to check your biases. Use it to tell you mistakes in your reasoning, or if there's misinformation. Another strong use case is repurposing content across channels. So you've created your content, perhaps it's a white paper, you've got your sort of original insight and your data, and then you use AI to repurpose that into social posts. Okay, just wanted to touch really briefly on AI for imagery. Again, we don't use, at Folk, we don't use AI for generating images. There's still big questions over sort of ownership and copyright. So like other marketers that we've spoken to and agencies we've seen, we do use AI for generating imagery for non-commercial use. So it's really strong for explaining ideas visually. So a good example of this is storyboarding, video storyboarding. So you have your, in the past, would have used stock imagery for storyboarding. And the limitation of that, it's quite hard to get, to get the exact type of person you want, or the exact type of background, for example. So with AI, you can get a very specific imagery for storyboarding. That's really, really one good example. So you can use, in terms of the tools for that, DALL-E, which comes with the sort of premium version of ChatGPT, is great for generating those sort of images with a bit of prompting. So to wrap up on content, our sort of whistle-stop tour through content and AI. AI is an amazing collaborator. Great as an assistant. So next, wanted to talk about our sort of next use case. Wanted to talk about AI for research and generating ideas. So brainstorming. AI is you will have heard this sort of expression. AI being a virtual member of your team, can be a virtual member of your brainstorming team. You can use a tool like Narrato. So you have your key topic, your key term. You input it into Narrato, and it will spit out lots of related topics. That's a really good sort of starting point. Or ChatGPT and other tools can do something similar. AI is not going to give you your award-winning marketing campaign idea, sadly. Not going to give you something truly novel, but if you need lots of ideas, you need them quickly, you're sort of a bit stuck, or you're out of your comfort zone with the area of expertise, then it can be really, really helpful. A good starting point. We at Folk, in terms of ideas and using AI, we think it's really great if you've got your idea, sort of not yet fully formed. Perhaps you've used AI to come up with some sort of help you with various themes, but you've got your idea that you've come up with as a team, and then you pop it into AI to sense check it, to poke holes in it, to suggest improvements, identify gaps and weaknesses. So sort of as a critical analysis tool. So that's really helpful. Okay, and then research. So AI alongside Google can supplement Google and be really helpful. A lot of marketers I know use Perplexity, and so have I in the past. So the good thing about Perplexity, it's an AI tool that you can you pop your question into your prompt, and it's really good because it gives sources. Sometimes they're a bit old, but it's helpful to see those sources. But as with lots in AI, the last couple of days, there's been sort of news reports about Perplexity. It's been under fire for making things up. So I think the sort of lesson here is just and we'll talk about this in a moment, is really just always staying on top of what's happening, always being aware that things can change, and with AI in particular, you just need to really be scrutinizing it and using it in a responsible way. So as I say, we'll come to that in a second. Another sort of AI research tool, data analysis. So a tool called Julius AI is really great for whether that's you've got your data, you've got perhaps a huge spreadsheet, thousands of rows, big CSV, for example, or any type of file. You upload it into Julius, and it gives you great analysis, displays it in a really nice visual way, and suggests how it could interrogate the data for you. So that's really helpful as well. ChatGPT can do that too. It's a bit more patchy, but that's really great for that. Okay, and then finally, we've talked about content creation, talked about ideation, and so our third one wanted to talk about principles and guidelines. So it's not so much a use case, but it is a prerequisite, we think, to using AI in your team. It's sort of the glue for other uses of AI. So we're talking here about sort of guidelines in place for your team, and at Folk we've developed a set of principles. And it's worth bearing in mind as well that you've got to think about your audience as well. So research from the Reuters Institute at Oxford University found that so only 25% of Brits had used a generative AI tool, and this is research from the last sort of this year, and only 2% were using it on a daily basis. So it's really just, particularly if you're business to consumer, just worth bearing in mind how sort of low uptake is, and people don't necessarily know that much about it. And you've just got to think about how you're using it and how you're potentially communicating that. So consider principles such as number one, authenticity. Championing human storytelling, showing that you're using it to complement your team's creativity. Number two, positive social impact. So we've all seen and heard about the sort of the biases and the stereotypes implicit in AI. Really got to keep an eye out for those. Got to interrogate the output. Don't take it at sort of face value, which I'm sure you aren't. Number three, confidentiality. So just got to be protecting your company data, thinking about where you're putting it, not inputting sensitive data. And if you work for an agency, it's your clients, and also obviously your audience data. Number four, transparency, just being transparent about how you use AI, happy to disclose tools you use. Number five, accuracy, never relying solely on AI output. I'm sure no one's doing that, but just sort of always checking for accuracy. Number six, continuous improvements. We talked about perplexity, which sort of seems a great tool, but then these news articles about it making things up. You just got to be testing new tools, just staying at the sharp edge of AI, or sort of getting someone else to help you do that. And the last one, number seven, is support. 98% of marketers are using AI to some extent, according to a recent survey, but 75% hadn't had training. Really important that your team has the training they need. People are just, it's essential, and managers have a big role to play there. Okay, so that's it for today's super speedy whistle-stop tour. Just to give you a quick recap, so we talked about content creation, ideas and research, and then we talked about principles and guidelines. In AI, the reality is there's so much more to discover. So as I say, it's been speedy, but it's been jam-packed. Have a think about how you're using AI. Have a think if you're using it consistently. If you've got any questions, pop them into the chat, or you've got our contact details there on the slides. Or if you'd like bespoke training for your team on using AI to make sure they know what they're doing and everyone's on the same page, then do get in touch as well. Also, if you want to learn about how we put our Folk principles into action, then please contact us. And you've got the contact details there on the screen. So thank you very much. We'll see you at the next Folk 15-minute webinar.